welcome back to 88.7 FM The Edge. You're listening to Hot Talk. My name is Connor MacPhail, and we're here with another episode with Kristin Lasker. Kristin, if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit.
Yes, my name is Kristin Lasker. I'm a senior here at New Paltz on this women's soccer team. I study communication with the concentration in public relations, and I minor in psychology and creative writing. And I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. So I just wanted to jump into it. How are you doing? How's the online school and quarantine and this crazy week treating you?
I mean, it's going. I've definitely been focusing on staying positive with everything. I mean, yeah, this semester is definitely so odd. Just being that normally in the fall, I'm in season and all my classes are in person, and now everything is just completely online. So, I mean, we're hanging in there. I live with a bunch of really cool girls that, we're my teammates. So we're making do.
Awesome. Well, that's happy to hear. Are all your classes online? Do you have any in-person classes?
Yeah, I'm taking 5 classes, and
Okay.
2 of them are synchronous, but the other 3 are asynchronous, which I've never really had before. So that's a lot more intensive than I thought it would be. Just a lot of reading and kind of self-teaching to a degree.
Yeah. All my classes happen to be asynchronous, and it's definitely a challenge. At first, you're like, let's go, I can do the work whenever I want, and then you're like, oh wait, this is a little harder than you thought it was. But yeah, yeah, exactly. But I wanted to talk about your season and kind of how you handled the cancellation of it. I mean, how was it to from last year you guys got to play and you kind of missed the upcoming of COVID, but how was it to come into your senior year knowing that you weren't going to have a season?
Yeah, I mean, I think about that a lot because I know I have a ton of friends that were spring sport athletes, and that was just, it took everything from them immediately. With going into the fall season, we were I think everyone had this kind of mentality of hope for the best but plan for the worst, you know what I mean? So that mentality was kind of tough to deal with though, because especially with our fitness tests that I have to always prepare for, how hard should I be training and continuing to train, and then if that was taken away, it's terrible. So it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was shocking because we were planning kind of for it, but it was still really disheartening. I mean, that meeting with coach telling it to us, everyone was in tears. So yeah.
When exactly did you find out? Did you find out when you came back? Was it over the summer?
So I had a little bit of an unusual experience with it because I have a ton of friends that are, representing their conferences with, the Sac, which I know we'll get into, but across the country. And a lot of them, a couple of days before I found out, they were saying, oh my God, my conference just canceled fall ball for everyone. And I was like, oh shoot, if that's happening in the West, then we're in New York and there's a ton of cases. But then I think it was almost a month before we would have been here for preseason. That's when I started hearing throughout the SUNY that seasons were being canceled. And then we had an emergency team call with our coach where he kind of broke the news to us. So I'd say 3 weeks out, or essentially a month out from when
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly so disheartening, especially for being a senior and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But you guys are still practicing and stuff, right? I mean, at least you're getting some touches, I think. I mean, if I'm right, you're still getting some reps, right?
Yeah. We had, we started, middle of September about, where we were practicing 3 times a week in groups of 10 or less, which was pretty fun. I mean, my coach was really, really good at emphasizing mental health, and right now this was used kind of as an outlet for us. And, there were points where, again, I know I have a different lens as a senior than junior, sophomores, and freshmen would have, but doing certain plays that should be run in a game and knowing that I wouldn't actually be able to live them out was just a little bit sad, but being able to see my teammates and, still have my cleats on, that was definitely necessary for me, and I know a lot of other girls. But our coach just had his second baby last week, which is really cool, but we stopped.
Congratulations to coach.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah, his son. But yeah, we're officially done for the rest of the semester.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't know if you have a plan on coming back for 5th year. Do you have any thoughts on ideas on what you're doing next year, or you think your time in New Paltz might come to an end?
I do sadly think that it will be coming to an end, only because I'm focusing so much on what I want to do for grad school right now, and I'm
Gotcha.
a huge PR person, and I'm looking at some really, really cool programs, in New York and across the country and whatnot. So I just know that that would be my best route, but
Yes.
I'm going to be graduating in the spring.
Gotcha. But I know the season was canceled, and I know you guys try to compete, and I know the SUNY is a really tough conference. What were your expectations for this coming season, going into the when last year ended and coming into this fall,
Like
what were
pre-COVID, kind of.
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, we had like a humongous culture change, with new staff coming on board and just the girls that were left with going into this fall. And
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say, we've been saying it, that we had like an all-star team coming in. We were
Yeah.
so excited. Culture was exactly where it needed to be. And even skill-wise, we brought in some new transfers that were just incredible to watch, even when we were practicing together in our non-traditional season in the spring this year. And we were so excited. And even on paper in the past, we didn't look great. I'll be the first to say, but I mean, the heart was so there. And even I think that the true testament would have been this season, where we would have made playoffs and really proven ourselves across the conference.
And I wanted to ask that, and you just kind of mentioned it. You had the underclassmen and the new recruits and the transfers how they were looking like a lot of potential for the team.
So much potential. Every single one of them just had such an amazing attitude. And I know before we were to start our non-traditional season in early February, we were doing some just pickup practices together, and the skill that was there was just unbelievable. And they also just fit in so quickly. I mean, already they're living with each other off campus, and we're all really tight. And yeah, they were everything that we look for in a student athlete in our program.
That's awesome. That's so happy. That's awesome to hear that, the culture is coming together, unfortunately, in unfortunate times. But, and I also wanted to talk about this, and I don't want this to come off rude or anything, and I know you mentioned it, but, you had a couple disappointing seasons, but, you guys compete, and, I know the games are close in the SUNY, but, the SUNY is just a tough conference. How are you guys able to stay motivated through those, heartbreaking losses almost?
Yeah, no, and it's very true. I even when I'm talking to recruits about our season, they can look up what our scores were, and there were way more losses than wins, and we would always be really frustrated because people would judge our team based on what we look like on paper. Meanwhile, if you went to a game, I mean, Geneseo is a SUNY championship winning team, and last season we were neck and neck with them the entire game, and just one off play and capitalization by them won them the game. But we kept up with them. We're super skillful and just have all this heart. So that's why it would be really frustrating when we wouldn't be able to seal the deal with one goal or maintain a lead. So, but again, like you were saying, what keeps us motivated? We remember those moments. We kind of just keep it comes back down to culture, and who we recruit, and the leadership on the team kind of pushing everyone to keep their heads up and focus on the next play. And I think that's why we were so excited for this year, because everyone was just all right, I don't care about the past. Every year that we've been here, we've gotten better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, hopefully that culture goes down into the classes below you and they can instill it into next year. Hopefully everything goes as planned and you guys have a season. But it's been really awesome to see you guys and the guys soccer team really just progress through the ranks and and really compete in this daunting SUNY conference. Because I mean, every time I talk to you guys, Cortland and Geneseo, whatever, they're nationally ranked, and it's it's awesome to see you guys compete.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, it's always stressful when we know that they're on our upcoming schedule, but it always amounts to a great game at the end of the day.
Yeah, but to kind of change topics now I wanted to get into your SAC involvement. I know you are the president of SAC, and I just wanted you to kind of tell us the story, maybe elaborate on how this kind of came to be.
Yeah, well, it's so crazy because I look back to, I really think that it started with my experience coming in here as a freshman, just simply on the soccer team. Before I was a player here, I was super introverted on any soccer team. Because I mean, the recruiting process was just so stressful, and I was always just so shy and nervous, and it was essentially a business. But I just loved playing so much that I knew I wanted to play in college. And when I got here, like I said, the culture of this program has just been amazing. And I was able to finally use my voice and be confident giving direction on the field. And I was just given a chance as, a center defender. And I was so like grateful to have playing time. And with that voice, we had a SAC rep, Julia Friedman, who was just an amazing leader on the team. She was the representative for us at the time, and she was graduating early. So Coach Mike, he needed a new SAC rep. And just because I was so comfortable being so vocal, he thought that I would be a good fit. So I started in the spring, and I was also friendly with the president at the time, who lived with some of the seniors on my team. So I'd always tell her, like, hey, look, like, if you need any help, I would love to help. Like, I was super involved in my high school with community service and stuff, and I see how hard you work. So yeah, like, reach out to me if you need. And from there, she was super involved, like I am now, with the conference SUNY SAC, and she invited me to come to. There's always a Syracuse retreat for SUNY SAC every spring and every fall, and she invited me to come to the spring one, where again I was just super vocal with my ideas. I was so happy that everyone was just so passionate about using their voice, because I just never had that in high school. And then I got here, and soccer was literally the outlet for me to do that. And then just being vocal there got just more attention brought to me. And next thing I know, I'm a sophomore going to the NCAA convention with the SUNY SAC e-board. And I wasn't even officially like in any role. I was just always talking. And I think that that's also how I essentially ended up being a communication major. I found my voice literally freshman year, and I was just given all these opportunities. And going into my junior year here, actually, I guess in the end of my sophomore year, I've already done the convention. I've already worked with the e-board, and then I was decided to be the national SUNY SAC rep. So Sam Acker.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to kind of dive into before. But I know that you were the SUNY SAC rep and everything. But can you maybe talk about like how like the national convention goes, and like how like maybe some stuff you learned from there, and like
Yeah, no,
maybe some of the stuff you wanted to bring to like some of the lessons you learned there to bring to New Paltz and maybe pass down.
yeah, that, well, again, at this point, I wasn't really like in any particular role. Like, I wasn't the president of New Paltz until my junior year, but just because I had those experiences, they thought I'd be like a good experience fit for it. But I just remember going to that first convention and just being surrounded by people who literally just loved being able to have a platform because of their sport to help other people. And something that stuck out to me so much, other than like out of nowhere, Mia Hamm was there, and I was like crying because it's Mia Hamm. I'm a soccer player. It was unbelievable. But we did this amazing Special Olympics event, also playing soccer, and just seeing how all of these like student athletes across the country were just so comfortable being uncomfortable and just dancing and running around and kicking a ball around with all these Special Olympics athletes. It was so memorable, and it just made me also realize like sports are really something that just brings people together. And like seeing that happen at this convention, I like needed to bring that back to New Paltz. I needed to bring it back to the conference because it's so possible to put together. And like that was just kind of one, like we do so many things with SAC, but community outreach and Special Olympics has always been a huge value of ours. So my sophomore year, seeing that there was just huge. And I knew that there was so much we could do, and that there were so many student athletes that were so willing to like help express others with their voice.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a great experience. Would you say it's probably one of your favorite memories from the SAC experience so far?
Absolutely. I still keep in touch with people that I've met there. And it's just crazy. I mean, I'm sitting at dinner with my parents when I go home from breaks. I'm like, oh, yeah, like I was talking to my friend from California today. Like, I never would have thought that I've had these experiences.
Yeah. The convention was in Anaheim, right?
Well, this past year, yeah. So that was my second time going. My first time was in Orlando. Anaheim was also crazy. Just I've never been west like that before, and
Yeah.
just people so willing. We did for Special Olympics. There's always an event. There was like cornhole going on, and everyone's just so happy when they're together doing that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
super fun, memorable, and just like I'm just always so honored to be there. I feel like so out of place.
I mean, that's awesome that it's impacted you so much.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I know the fact that, I mean, you've gotten to this role now where you're the president of SAC. I mean, like, what does being the president role of SAC like encompass in some ways for you now?
Definitely, like we have 4 subcommittees there's a chairperson of each subcommittee, and then I also work with Emily Fox, who's the vice president, and she's a senior softball player who's amazing also. And really my role is just to be the catalyst voice that connects student athletes to, I guess the rest of the committee in ways that we can just promote ourselves and provide resources. And I know right now, like I know you interviewed Jackson Bertucci he's the chair of diversity and inclusion, and he's doing so
Yes.
much with his committee and alumni relations, making a huge database. And my role kind of is just like, how can I help out? Like, what resources do you need from me? Who needs to be contacted to make this possible? Stuff like that. It's just kind of like a management role, I guess, because everyone else is so passionate about their specific subcommittees and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Jackson and like how he kind of grew up, and like he talks about how he all his life was just kind of involved in diversity and inclusion. So it's really awesome to see how passionate these subcommittees and chairs are. And I know you guys are doing another video series that I saw with Carly Cruto with Sebastian. You did?
Yeah, no, that came out amazing too. And that was literally all of them. Like we just I put the meeting minutes together. We meet every month, and subcommittees meet individually every month. E-board meets every month. I'm just kind of like, how can I help make these? Our goal was to make tangible events, because it's one thing to talk about all of these great things we can do with our platform, but another thing to actually make them possible. And now this year, I'm just so proud of them. Like, and then, translating Jackson's and his subcommittee's work into communications work, and they're posting it all over the Instagram and gaining more followers. And it's just like really awesome to see, like it's fully student run.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that what the student athlete body has done.
Mm-hmm.
But, for any new freshmen that are coming into this strange, COVID filled New Paltz that, where the social environment isn't the same, you maybe have any advice for younger student athletes who might want to get involved in something like this?
Oh yeah, well I would 100% encourage it. I may be biased in that. It's hilarious because I mean my team has like 11 SAC reps, and I'm like, oh my god, do I really talk about it that much? But yeah, no, I would 100% encourage it, because I mean it's just automatically so fulfilling to be able to use your talents to just help somebody else, or bring light to somebody else's day. But on top of that, like we're such a community that like is always there for each other. I mean, we have our means of communicating to each other via, our group me or whatnot. But I mean, topics like this that we're working on are always coming up in day-to-day life anyways. I mean, mental health and student athletes right now, huge. So like, and for freshmen to be coming into this environment that's already foreign, and I mean, between just being in a dorm that they've never been in before and dealing with COVID and wearing a mask all the time, it's tough. And, being on a team is obviously an amazing outlet, but to see how other teams and other student athletes, older, younger, are dealing with it, it's just like a comfort, and safe space on top of being able to help others. I think it's like super inclusive, and, we always welcome new people, especially if they're passionate about giving back.
Awesome. Well, that's the message to any of the younger people listening to this. If you want to get in SAC, reach out to Kristin.
Absolutely. I love it.
But last question before we kind of take a little break here. I know you mentioned about you being a communications major, but I know you're so involved and you love this stuff. Do you think you would continue working in something like SAC when you're done with college, or being as involved in SAC? If that makes sense. Yeah. Like when you're done, when you graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely thought about it. I know right now, especially with everything going on, I think that what's best for me is just to take things day by day. And I definitely know that I want to dive into like the world of public relations, especially if it means giving a voice to a group or a corporation, nonprofit, if they need it. Whether it's in sports or the NCAA, I'm not entirely sure like what kind of, I guess, direction I want to take it in. As long as I'm giving back, I mean, I view this whole experience with SAC as not necessarily like a case study, but it's teaching me how I could give people a voice. So if I can do that in a, if I'm provided with an opportunity that's not with the NCAA and I'm still doing that, I'll be so happy. But I'm not entirely sure yet. I know that I'm still going to be in contact with everyone that I've met along the way and would love to still be able to work with them in some way or another. But it's not entirely decided on my part right now.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome, and I appreciate all the insight you've given us right now.
Yeah.
But right now, we're just going to take a quick break, but more Hawk Talk next on 88.7 FM The Edge. Hey, welcome back to 88.7 FM The Edge. You're listening to Hawk Talk. I'm back here with Kristin Lasker. Kristin, I wanted to jump kind of back into last season, and I know we said that you think your time here at New Paltz is kind of over. I wanted to maybe dive into some of your favorite memories with the team and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I have literally so many. I mean,
rattle off a few.
I mean, just like off the top of my head, definitely the bus rides are
Okay.
super fun. When Coach would sing karaoke on the bus ride was probably the highlight of my entire experience here. Coming back again, I think they're all bus related because coming back from Bard, that was like one of my first away game wins, and everyone was just singing the entire time back. So those are a few. On top of getting Chipotle after away games.
Oof. Those are always great.
Yeah, no, and just any goal that was ever scored, because there haven't honestly been many, but they're always just so impactful.
What's Coach's go-to karaoke song?
Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. I don't remember. I don't remember it, but it was like rock. He had his hat on backwards, and he killed it. I can tell you that.
He was getting into it?
Oh, he was amazing. It was like, I don't even think he realizes how much I'll never forget that.
That's awesome. So I don't know if you have seen, but we do these fun fact segments for my internship with me and Monica at the AWC. And, we're running a little low on, some fun facts. If you have any fun facts you can give me about your teammates or yourself that we can make a little segment on.
Well, fun fact, I know I have to shout out Jess Levinson because she's been my roommate since I was a freshman here, and she's one of my best friends. She is amazing at ping pong.
She's like legit?
She's legit, like unstoppable with the paddle. What other fun facts? I mean, I always like to throw out my fun fact that my grandpa was on the New York Giants in the 50s, which is like cool. Everyone gets super hyped up about it.
Hey, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so natural born Giants fan over here. I don't know if I could think of any off the top of my head. I'm just like super.
Well, maybe I'll have to challenge Jess Levinson to a ping pong game.
You might have to. I can't. I think it'll be competitive, but she kind of might take the cake.
She might.
She
practice?
She's just like when I first met her as a freshman, we're doing the icebreakers, and she's like, everyone's thinking about what their fun fact is. And normally it's like, oh, I have a dog, I have a sister. She's like, I could destroy you at ping pong. Like, be my roommate.
Yeah. Besides all the good memories and stuff, I have some superlatives here that I wanted to go into. Did you kind of name like the teammate that you think fits best for this?
Perfect.
Okay. So most likely to be late to practice.
Oof. Okay, I'm gonna go with Kaylee.
Okay. Why is that? Any specific reason? Or you don't want to call her out too much?
It's just hilarious because she always gets to practice just on time. Like I'm and me and my other housemates are always the ones that need like 45 minutes at the trainer.
Yeah, I need to get there like an hour early.
Exactly.
I'm gonna tear something.
Strolls up to the field, like always on time, but we're always like, Kaylee, practice starts in like 5 minutes. She's like, I know, I'll be there, and she's always there.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this might be the same person, but most likely to miss the bus.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I mean, maybe. I feel like Jess Funky actually almost did miss the bus one time.
Unless you have faith in all your teammates to make the bus.
We've never left anyone behind, but there was this one instance where we almost did. I think it was her.
Oh, really?
If any of them are listening, I'm sorry. I can't love you. I apologize.
There was one occasion for our men's volleyball team where, God forbid, we were playing Bard, but we left someone behind and they had to drive to the game.
It's like my worst fear. I feel like I'm always the first one on the bus with my triple.
Yeah. All right, next one. Most likely to forget their cleats.
Oh gosh. So I don't think anybody has ever forgotten their cleats. I mean,
Okay.
I think maybe Kate did one time, or I did, and I don't. Either way, one of us was wearing the other person's cleats one time, but normally we're pretty good about that.
Okay, that's good though.
Yeah.
Look at having faith in the teammates. That's good. I feel like the cleats are like the biggest part. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like the first thing we're checking when we get there.
Yeah.
To shin guards though, I think sometimes we'd have to stuff.
Shin guards, a different story. Those are a bit forgetful.
Guards are a completely different story. Like I can't even describe to you the amount of times that I had to stuff a sock with my other sock. It looked like I'm wearing shin guards, but yeah, that cleats and shin guards, different levels.
Awesome. All right. Most likely to score off a bicycle kick.
Oh, okay. So this is a tie for me because I think Kate actually did do this one time, but I also think that our new teammate Lisette could also 100% do that.
Okay. Shout out them.
Yeah.
Most likely to get a red card.
Kaylin. Absolutely Kaylin.
Has it happened?
You know why I say that? It hasn't happened, but we do this like funny team superlatives thing normally on around Thanksgiving time, and she
Okay.
got that last year, and it was
Oh, really?
yeah, because she's just a really powerful, amazing soccer player. She's never drawn one here, but we always say like if it had to be somebody, it would be her.
Couple yellow cards here and there.
Couple yellow cards here and there, yeah, sporadically. We're pretty.
Well, I think you might have answered the next one. The loudest on the field.
No one really sticks out. Like we normally. You know what? You ever be on a team where everyone's just super friendly with each other and you just like can't go? We might be one of those teams.
That's fair.
Although in the back, we do have the defensive line normally has to, I guess, navigate, and like be directional. So I guess like Danielle, maybe myself, we're pretty loud in the back, but
Gotcha.
nothing that's like crazy.
None of you sound like Mark yelling from the goalie.
No, but that's hilarious that you said that.
Mark's got a loud voice.
He does have a loud voice, and it's also very different when he's screaming.
Yeah. When he's screaming from the goal, and you can just hear him you can hear him from Humanities.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious.
Shout out to Mark, though. Teammate who would have the most creative goal celebration?
These are really good questions. Honestly, I
won't take full credit for these. Monica helped me with these, so shout out to Monica.
Brilliant mind. Yeah, I think I feel like Sky would pull something out that's like really, really clever. She's a baller.
What's your go-to goal celebration?
You see, I've thought about this a lot, but as a defender,
I think this is an important thing.
Yeah, if it was, oh my God, I've thought about this. I think that I would honestly. Actually, I've actually talked about this with Jess Levinson. We said that if either of us scored, we would run to each other and do this massive chest bump.
I love that. That's perfect.
She scored the last goal that we've scored last year at Potsdam. That was our last game we scored, and we did a nice little.
Did it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Great goal.
Let's go. I love that. Okay. Next one. So who would be the last person coach would ask to babysit his kids?
Honestly, so again, he I don't think he would like not let any of us babysit his kids, but I feel like, and for no reason in particular other than like something like this would just happen to her, I feel like Kira, he would just be like, you're the one person I can't let my kids be around.
I cannot leave you alone with my children.
She's like the nicest, sweetest, most hardworking person ever. Just so many like funny things happen to her that it would just be like, of course it's Kira.
Who would be the worst person to sit next to on a bus ride?
Oh my God. Honestly, again, like I love every single person on my team, so I really don't even think that there is somebody. I mean, if it was somebody, it would be because they're doing homework and I'm the one sleeping the entire 6-hour bus ride. So I know, and I feel guilty. So, but everyone is like pretty good. Maybe also, I don't know, Megan has a lot of stuff, and when me and her sit next to each other on the Hawk bus, it's just very crammed, but
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm the same way.
Okay. So, the last person you'd want picking the restaurant after an away game. Sounds like you're a big Chipotle fan.
I'm a big Chipotle fan, and that's normally where we go to. I feel like.
So, is it like a team consensus Chipotle, or I mean, like sometimes someone throws a little haymaker in there?
There was just one experience with the food that I can remember where we were just getting Chipotle so much that we actually couldn't stomach it after a late game, and Coach Mike was like, "No, we're going to Chipotle," and we were like, "No, please, no," and we ended up going to Chipotle. So I might have to say Coach Mike.
Okay, fair, understandable.
Yeah.
And the last and final superlative I have, the last person you'd want making the warm-up mix.
Oh, and my answer to this is literally anybody on the team except Jess Levinson. She always makes the most amazing mixtape before a game. I wouldn't trust anybody else to make it.
So no one. Jess Levinson has to have the aux.
She has to have the aux. There's no question about it. It's either she has it or no one does.
Gotcha. Well, that's all the superlatives I have. I thank you for coming on again.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
I had so much fun talking to you guys.
Of course. Yes. Well, thank you again for being on, and thanks for listening to Hawk Talk.